Okay, sorry guys, we're recording now. So we'll do the intros, we'll do a little 2023 looking backwards with the practice groups, maybe a financial update, building update. Again, not talking about looking forward so much, but just sort of looking at this past year. So just kind of keep that in mind. And once we do that, we'll come into talking about 2024, the board for next year, and then anyone that wants to throw out any ideas about next year, things we might want to do and improve upon, et cetera, et cetera. So does that sound like a good format?
Yep.
Yes. Okay, so we'll go around the circle here first, and we'll come to you guys on Zoom, and then we'll come back to me again, if that's okay. So again, I'm Mike Mueller. I'm on the board and board president for this last year, and I practice with the Quantum group. And that's it. I used to do the team group too, but we've put that on hiatus for a while. So anyway, yeah.
I'm Mick. Let me see, I belong to the Vajrayana group, Dr. Lai's group, and the Tara Triple Excellence group. I kind of had the Wednesday night meditation workshop every Wednesday night, 7 p.m. And also kind of coordinate the daily meditation time, sittings that we have during the week and during the weekends. And you're a board member? I am a board member.
Yes, you are.
For now.
That's true of anything we could say. It's
That's
always
right.
for now.
And permanent.
Yeah, everything's impermanent. Okay.
My name's Zach. Due to the whole thing, I've been to about 3 or 4 of the Buddhism and the 12 Steps meeting. Came to my first Vajrayana meeting before that today, and I was really excited to find the place. Before this, I've just kind of everything I'd done on my own. So I was interested to, open up and see like what other people do with a group and to see things from different angles and so yeah, I was really excited to find the place and plan to explore more of what it has to offer.
I'm Roger. I practice with the 12-step program. I quantum Tuesdays and the what's it called? Thursday, the River Valley.
I'm John. I'm the practice lead for the 12-step Buddhist group.
I'm Michael Bailey, long-time listener, first-time visitor. I've been looking for a community to join. I've been practicing for probably about 2 years on my own as well. And I'm really taking out Hans. But I've driven by this place thousands of times and I wanted to come and see. And again, I'm curious if there might be a place to fit in. I'm more for developing my practice.
My name is Dolly Carson, and on the board, I send newsletters out, occasionally post things on Facebook, and in the past I've practiced with the Thich Nhat Hanh group, and I'm not currently practicing with any group. I'm Cheryl Woodard. I'm married to that guy, Mick. Been there 43 years, and Tibetan, small Buddhist, and board member.
Come on, sweet.
Maybe go back there, Steve.
That's Steve. I help make out Wednesday nights and do silent cities during the weekday.
I'm Charlotte Bash, and I do the Wednesday night Vajrayana practice, which is called the Dakini Heart Essence. And I also have started with the book study with Dr. Lai's.
I'm Joyce Hofford, and I do Tibetan practices in Dr. Lai's group, and Jamana group, and Tara.
My name is Betsy Johnson, and I also go to the Triple Excellence group on Sunday morning. Usually try to get to Dr. Lai's group, but make sure they don't help And, also, I started out with my teaching speaker. He came here this year for a retreat, and it was so wonderful. And he comes back next year. Also, work with Mike on the children's group. All of that is in place right now, but we're always open to returning to that kind of practices. Sure.
Betsy, do you want to mention the compassionate care group?
Oh, yeah, sure. So on Monday evenings, twice a month, we have a compassionate care group. That is a group that is really dabbling in some very deep waters. That is, we're talking about preparation for death and for being a caregiver to others when they're going through the life process. So we're reading Being with Dying by John Howard Clark. It's a wonderful book. So it's on the website. You can look for that. But everybody is invited. Our next group will actually be tomorrow night at 7. And we're in the book study. We're only on chapter 2. So we're early on. We welcome everybody to drop in and check it out. If you can talk about that, that's the only way. We able to do that.
That's just been a board member too.
I've been a board member. I'm going off now for this year. Who knows what will happen in the future?
Again, we never know. It's all unknown.
Also, I believe more in parenting now toward, this is talking about the future, but with the idea of a mindful parenting group, rather than starting with the children's group, because, the parents, see if we, so any parents that are opposed to that, send them a note.
John?
I'm John Matlock. I'm a board member and a member of the compassionate care group.
Ben, usually practice with the Thursday nights, makes in our village tradition. Used to do the midday sound sittings and sometimes go to Wednesdays. Unless you want to drop in or come in.
Cool. We're going to pop over to Zoom. We're going to start with Paul. You're my upper left, and then move over to Jim, and then Diane, and then finally Brad. Go ahead, Paul.
Hi, I'm Paul Carreras. I'm a board member and practice leader for the Thursday night River Valley Sangha group. That's it.
Jim Harper. I'm in the weekend Anam Thupton and Dr. Light groups.
Hi, I'm Diane O'Rourke. I attend the Dharmata group on Saturday mornings, which is the Anam group, and I attend the book study on Sundays, and then I am a member of the Compassion Care Committee.
Great. I guess we lost Brad. Yeah, maybe he'll, if I happen not to be looking at, if you guys see him pop back in, let me know.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you for introducing yourself. And it's so great to see, I mean, many of you I know, but a few of you I don't know. I've just seen you very briefly, and it's just really great to see faces that I don't see that often. And it's a great reminder of how special this place is and how it brings people from all different walks of life and different ages and different practices and different traditions and different interests. And it's really great to have all of us here together to talk about EBS. So let's do a little reflection, maybe looking at this last year. And as I said, we generally like to have each practice group, if there's a member here or a leader here, just to kind of give a quick update and let everybody know, things like approximate. I mean, I'm always curious, what's the attendance look like, whether it's gone up or it's gone down, whether it's stable. If there's anything particularly going on in the group that maybe would be interest to the whole community. I think that's always helpful to know. Yeah, just anything you feel like sharing. So anybody want to go? We can kind of go random. Anybody want to say something first? Well, hopefully almost all the practice groups would be represented. Yeah, great, yeah.
Mine's the shortest. Wednesday nights.
And remind us again of the name of the group, just for everybody's sake, so we
My
remember.
name's Charlotte, and I'm going to talk about the Dakini Heart Essence Vajrayana group on Wednesday nights. And We do it on Skype, we don't even do it on the EBS, Zoom. And, it's just 3 people, and it's never changed. Be honest.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we don't have a teacher to support it, it's an old practice. With Lama Longbow and, some of the other teachers would come, so it's just Ellis and my boyfriend Jim and me that do it, so that's it.
Small but effective.
Well, it's, you know, we could get a teacher in to support it, but it's very technical kind of practice, Flagiana practice, so that's all I can say.
Okay.
And I'm John Mize with the Buddhist 12-step group. We meet Sundays from 1 to 2:15. Before the pandemic, we had average 25 to 28, probably the largest practice group at the center. We've never really got back to that after the pandemic. We now have between 4 and 9 attendees. We probably have a few more than that. Sometimes they come and sometimes they're busy and don't. But we continually have new people come in. Some of them remain for the long haul, and some of them stay with us for a month or two and drift off. But if you haven't visited us, we are a group of people who believe that the 12 steps and Buddhism are both complementary paradigms for learning to live a mindful life. Addiction is sort of a special case of the Buddhist argument about attachment. It's just sort of attachment carried to its worst conclusion, so there's a lot of conflict.
John, are you guys reading a book right now?
Yes, we're reading When Things Fall Apart by Finn Shogun. And we do a meditation for 20 minutes, and then which is probably wildly unreasonable for standards in Buddhist Center, but we started off with 5 minutes and worked our way up. And we read a book, and it's more of a discussion of the book than a study of its material. We sometimes spend months on chapter talking about it, and then we drift into a general sharing meeting. 12-steppers do community real well.
Yeah.
How many people on average would you say?
4 to 9.
4 to 9.
Or 10. 10 today.
Nice.
On cold, rainy, dreary days, we have 4 or 5, and then on better days, we have 8 or 9.
It was great when we started that group. What was it, 2017, 18? Can't remember, 17 or 18.
First meeting was 28, and we had as many as 32. So.
Yeah.
But we get people, word of mouth in the 12-step community still continues to grow.
That's great. Good. Okay, who wants to go next? Anybody?
I can report on 2 things. Wednesday night is our introduction, 101. I like that meditation, or Club Med, as we like to call it. To meditation, and we started it shortly after we moved in here, so 7 or 8 years ago, and we initially thought it was just going to be like, yep, we're going to teach you the basics of meditation, we'll go off and meditate, and but it turns out that it's actually kind of a loose group. We have people that continue to come and use us, and like the camaraderie, like the Sangha. We get to talk about meditation and really explore the nooks and crannies of mindfulness. And people drift in and drift out, and but definitely post-COVID has seen a drop in general. It wasn't unusual to have 10 to 15 people pre-COVID, and now it can be 3 to 8. Though we did have one night where 15 people came in just out of the blue, and this was shocking. It's really a very nice, you don't really get a chance to talk about meditation and individual stories about practices, and turns out we all have things that we can share, and it's not just an instructional thing. It's really because everybody's mind is a little different, you know, and mindfulness is very, very flexible. There's no kind of rigid instruction on that, so it's really a good one. But I do hope that we could get a more robust attendance in the coming year. That's an aspiration.
If I could go back, I want to ask you
Yeah.
this, and I want to ask John this too. You're Skype only, right, on y'all's?
Oh.
Has the balance of in-person versus Zoom changed, is the
Yes,
same?
we're almost always, almost completely in person. I bring up the hybrid link for every meeting, and if no one shows within the first 10 minutes of the station, so I turn it off. Once every 5 or 6 weeks, our members will feel a little under the weather. We have no one participating from outside the area, whereas during the pandemic we did. We had quite a number of people.
Mhm.
But it is a Buddhist recovery network. It has its own sources, and we are listed as a Buddhist recovery on the Buddhist recovery website. So we have had people find us through that.
How about the Wednesday night?
Well, you know, we continued on with the Zoom. We started in Zoom in COVID years and then continued for a while, but it just, attendance atrophy, it just sort of fell out. And after a while, nobody was showing up. So, you know, I mean, Zoom was really very useful, but talking about meditation and have meditating together really does, just in my experience, just works good personally, person to person type of thing. So, so we don't even open up. We don't have a link on our page or anything like that. So.
And our practice is probably a great deal more interactive than most practices.
Yeah.
And it just feels better for people to be there. And unless somebody is sick, under the weather or something, they tend to prefer to be there.
So it's similar. And then we have ongoing daily meditation that has, we still have a pretty regular attendance, but very light. You know, usually it can range from 0 to 3 or 4 or 5 during the days. And Sundays is our heavily 5 to 7 people. But that, you know, contrast that with 10 and 12 pre-COVID. And so we have a kind of a fluctuating staff depending, but we have a kind of a skeletal crew in terms of timekeepers, and that's kind of aspirations to get more timekeepers. Right now there's 3 to 5 people, but there's travels, there's schedules, there's flus and so forth. So, you know, there's quite a bit of patch filling as we go along. So, always invite. I mean, I'm going to probably put out as many pleas for more timekeepers.
That's your real need, yeah.
And it's a really good practice. It's a really good practice to be a timekeeper. I don't know. I mean, Ben's been a faithful timekeeper for us, and for me, timekeeping is actually such a good adjunct to practice because it's a broader, more present, more bodhicitta practice than mindfulness. You know, so it's very good practice. So
good.
Encourage.
Okay. Anybody else who wants to jump in next? Anybody?
I'll talk about Tara practice on Sunday mornings. We are 4 people and we'll probably always be 4 people. Because we're all doing this online program at Choki Neighborhood Shake on Forest Triple Excellence. But we do have, and we don't do it, it's only live, we don't do it. But people come and join us and the practice is very straightforward and simple. And, you know, we invoke Tara and we supplicate her, and we meditate for 20 minutes, and we dedicate at the end. It's friendly and simple, and give you a handout. So we have people drifted now, but
I think that's what I've done a few weeks ago. We have not been back to EBS in many years.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
she used to be a regular person at Anna Cox's
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
and she was reconnecting. She's got her children old enough now, she can practice again. And,
That was pretty cool.
yep. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah. And I'll speak for the Dr. Light group because Melissa isn't here, I'm her co-leader, and that group also fluctuates. There's people that, I would say we have a core of about 7 or 8 people that come pretty consistently. We always do Zoom. Dr. Light joins us from North Carolina on Zoom, maybe once every 2 months, sometimes more frequently, but he travels a lot. And then we have a couple of people that are always on Zoom for whatever reasons. And so we are still on Zoom. We don't tend to have a lot of newcomers, but because we are Sunday morning, Zach this morning, really wonderful. So sometimes people wander in and join the fun. But the group is mostly discussing a book. We're always studying books, and they're Vajrayana books, so they can be kind of poetic and profound. But we enjoy talking about this. It's us.
Okay. All right. Let's see what we got. Paul, you want to talk about your group?
Sure. I'm Paul Carreras, and I'm the practice leader for the Zoom group on Thursday nights, the River Valley Sangha. And we're our past year has been pretty much the same as previous years. We haven't changed much, although our group is always changing. We're kind of like a river, you know. In Zen, they talk about a river never changes. I mean, a river is always changing, never stays the same. And our group is like that. We have people leaving, moving away, and more new people joining every other week or so. And we're kind of the referred to group when newcomers come to EBS. Our practice is usually the first one that they're pointed towards.
Okay.
But we practice in the tradition of Thich Nhat Hanh, Plum Village. And as a matter of fact, tomorrow will be his 2nd anniversary of his passing. And at Plum Village, they're going to have a lot of events at all of the event centers. They're going to have a lot of events to honor his becoming an ancestor in his tradition. One other thing our group has done the last few months is sponsored Contra Dance, which is it's a lot of fun. It's open to everybody. Show up, and it's kind of like an Irish folk dance. Everybody dances with everybody. It's a lot of fun. We move together like a sangha, and everybody has a good time. But we need more people to attend. It's held every 2nd Saturday at 2:00. We've got some excellent musicians, and Rob and Ellen, members of our sangha that sponsor it and host it. It's a lot of fun, so I encourage everybody to show up. Everybody's welcome. That's about it for our group, really.
Does your Thursday evening group have a Zoom? Are you hybrid? Thursday evening group is hybrid?
Yeah, it's hybrid. It's Zoom and in person.
And are you reading a book, Paul?
We sometimes read books, but not normally. We have selected readings from Thich Nhat Hanh books of different types.
And did you say, and forgive me if I missed it, do you think are more or less or about the same number of people joining on Zoom than last year?
Probably about the same. We average anywhere from 3 to 6 people on Zoom, and probably from 6 to 12 people in person each week.
It's a good sized group.
Yeah.
Okay.
Diane or Jim,
yeah.
talk about Saturday, about Diane?
Jim? Jim?
Well, the best thing that I could say about it, I guess, is that it helps us come to nothing. Dr. Lai is such a good teacher. He has such a good, he's so knowledgeable. I mean, I'm talking, he is too, but not Dustin also is wonderful and funny and humorous. And I've gotten a lot out of this group. We sit for about 45 minutes, which is really good, listening to one of his guided meditations. And these meditations really, the guidance part is part of the teaching. And a lot of the teaching then is around Dzogchen, which I'm very drawn to. And I invite people to come just sit in. You're welcome to.
And you meet, this is the Anantupton Saturday morning group.
Yeah.
You meet 10:30 to noon, is that right?
Well, that's what the group originally did. Then when we got online, we somehow have started meeting from 10:30 till 12:30.
Okay, 2 hours.
We just couldn't shut up.
And you're hybrid, right? You're on Zoom and in person.
Yes.
Yes. How many people attend regularly?
Oh, probably 6 to 10.
Okay.
In person or Zoom?
A mixture.
Okay. I can talk about the Quantum group, but before I do that, I'll go last. Is anybody else in a group, lead a group, member of a group? I'm looking around, I don't think so.
Is Soto Sense still coming?
Oh. Yeah, I'll talk to you about
June.
that. So I saw Judith Friday. They meet on Wednesday afternoons at 5:30. And it's a small group, but they are pretty dedicated. I would say 3 to 5 people every week. They don't do Zoom at all. But they do, and so sometimes they're under the guidance of Flint Sparks, and they sometimes watch a video of his. He does a lot of his teaching online, so sometimes they do that and talk. Or they've been reading Zen Mind Beginners, Sue Bush's book. But they are heavily a meditation group. They sit for 30 to 40 minutes and they do walking too. And so it's a very solid sitting practice. Now, 5:30 to 6:30. We're trying to find them a better time. They don't like that time because it's too early. People have trouble getting there, but we don't have a space for them to meet. So we're working on it.
We're saying that there are several locations at the center. A 3-person group could meet in there.
Yeah.
Downstairs is always one of these days downstairs.
Yeah,
These days downstairs, and that's part of what we're working on. We are talking about. I don't want to get into the.
Yeah, we will get into some of that stuff. Yeah, a little bit, at least a little bit, right? Yeah. Let's finish the practice group kind of check-ins. I can talk about Quantum. Roger and I both attend that. It's on Tuesdays at 6 for an hour. Lucy's our head Dharma teacher for that. Yeah, so the practice is a combination of chanting and sitting and then some circle talk or circle time where we just kind of check in and chat with each other. We do about a 25-minute sit, and then, as I said, we do a little bit of chanting too, and some very brief prostrating. The attendance, I think, has been pretty stable all of this last year. I'd say here in person, there's 3, 4 of us, depends on the week. sometimes 2, sometimes 5, let's say 3 or 4 usually in person. And then on Zoom, 4 to 5, I guess. So we're somewhere around 10 total, I'd say. Like all the other groups, we definitely have sort of a, a cycle of people coming to check us out, and they may come once or twice and then they don't come back. And then we've got our core group, which is that core group of 7 to 10. That's pretty consistent all the time. Yeah, I mean, I can't think of anything else. Roger, do you think anything?
Good.
Yeah. Any questions about that, or? I think it's been pretty consistent too, in comparing to 2022, right? I don't think that the mixture of in-person and Zoom has changed all that much. Seems to be pretty much the same thing. We might have 1 or 2 more who come in person versus on Zoom, but there's a core group that's on Zoom, has been on Zoom, and seems to want to stay on Zoom, if I had to guess. Yeah, sorry.
No.
No, that's pretty much it.
Oh, and I was wondering, where's Doug? Terravana?
I actually was just about to write that down, Theravada. We don't, Doug's,
He's here from that.
no one's here, so we can't really get a.
They're meeting later tonight. But,
Where's the,
what?
where is it?
That is also a board member.
Okay. Yeah, Theravada was the one. Was there, I think that represents everyone. Do we? Alice's group, is that?
Yeah,
That's you, Charlotte. Okay, I was just going through the list here, trying to think if there's anybody I was, okay, so that is it. Yeah. And the team mindfulness group, which is on here, which you alluded to, has been on hiatus most of this year. I started that back in 2017, 18, I can't remember, 18, I guess it was. And it went on for 3 or so years, I want to say. We made it through COVID. And then when it became primarily Zoom, it was great in person. Then when Zoom, everything went to Zoom. As you would imagine, not a lot of teenagers who spent the majority of their school day on Zoom with their teachers didn't then also want to get on Zoom to be with us, with me. I try not to take that personally. But that wasn't an exciting idea for them. But then they all went to college. There's a core group that was, and my son Jacob was part of that. It was a core group that was like doing it every week, and they were so into it. Even from college, they would Zoom in, and then even college took over. Like life became way too interesting in college, and way too boring on teen mindfulness group. Yeah, and we just never could replenish it. We could never really. And I still think it's a worthy. I mean, we're not talking about next year or whatever, and I won't be able to do that, but I'm happy to help brainstorm ways we could re-energize that group and bring it back. I know Betsy, I kind of asked if you wanted to do it, if we kind of got back into it. But again, we'll get into the next year here in just a second. So let's talk a little bit about financial.
Yeah, I'll do that. And
Okay.
can I talk about the board too? Just
Yes.
the board?
Sure.
Okay, so we have a really fantastic board of directors. All of them are volunteers, and many have been serving on board for a long time. And this current board bought the building for us. Hello, pretty nice, right? Pretty good work. And have steered us through COVID and all that kind of stuff. So, we need to think about them fondly. And but we are finding that it's hard to keep coming up with new ideas and make them happen. And part of that is because the number of people volunteering stays the same even though the ideas keep growing and the possibilities and so forth. So the board is tired. I'm going to just say that the board people are tired, and what happens is they fill in, when something is going on and needs to be taken care of. Molly's a trooper. She does all this marketing, and we figure out, oh, we're going to do this, and then somebody has to tell the world about it. Oh, by the way, something like that. So I just want to speak to them, how wonderful they are, and hard they work, and every question, like, how do we clean the bathroom, you know, or when have we, should we have a cleaning schedule, or, you know, whatever. No detail is too small. And, there's a bunch of them on screen. I mean, Paul is on board, a bunch of us are here, and some of them aren't, but Lisa, so we will have a board election today. We will resurface the board, but I want to thank particularly two people who are rolling off the board this year, Mike and Betsy. And I want to thank everybody on the board, because I've been on the board. Steve's been on the board, people have been on board, probably in former lives. You were on board, John?
Yeah.
You guys have people here have been on the board. Many people. It's a wonderful practice, actually. It's like, yeah, taking out the garbage is a meditation practice, isn't it? You know, or security for building, or whatever, all those things. So anyway, Mike has been a really enthusiastic and hardworking member of the board and president. And so I just don't know how much I can say about how grateful we are. And you're still going to be part of the community, and we're still going to call on you for your ideas, but we won't make you do the emails anymore.
That's right.
Promise.
Thank you.
And Betsy, there's nothing she hasn't helped out with. Wherever something needed to be filled in, some gap that was there, she would step in and fill it, and quietly, without a lot of hoopla. We're all not going around going, oh, Betsy, no, Betsy just gets the job done, you know. Very, 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 very person, and we're just both of them. I need to thank also two other volunteers who are retiring. One of them is Marcia Zamora. She's not here, and neither of them are here, so this is for the record, for the video. Marcia Zamora, who went to the post office and collected the mail and put it all in the bank, the deposits, paid the bills. She did that tirelessly for, I don't know, maybe 5, 6 years, something like that. And we finally relieved her of that task. She also has been the plant lady. I think she's continuing to do that, I'm not sure. And then Ellis, who did the bookstore forever for EBS, and he just retired from that in 23, and Sheila Peters took over for him, and she's been, so now she's the bookstore lady. So anyway, I am the volunteer coordinator this year for EBS, and Lisa Kessler did it last year. And I'm just saying, if you want to help out, even in the smallest way, please, it's a great practice to step in and do something. It feels so good. It feels like you own the place. It feels like your family. You're helping to wash the dishes like you would do at home, instead of just being a visitor who comes and goes, you know? So get to know people. You like some people and don't like some people. Friends, you know, it's just wonderful to volunteer. So if you have any questions or interests, let me know. And we need timekeepers, as Mick said. The marketing team is kind of slim. If you want to talk about what you could use, Molly's in charge, but she and Mike got these big promotions.
Yeah, so, Mike, lots of ideas and enthusiasm, but limited time. So if there's anyone in the community that you guys know of who enjoys emails together, and Charlotte, thank you so much for contributing. It's huge help, though, really. Charlotte helped us out with different story contributions this year. So if anyone likes to write and contribute stories or actually put emails together, we would love to have some help with that as well.
Yeah, and just to kind of put a bow on it, I mean, I think one thing that maybe people don't always realize, I mean, it's like we're running a business. I mean, it's like a business has revenue, it has a building, it has staff, it has programs or services or products. It's like, people don't always realize we're actually running a business, yet we're all just a bunch of ragtag volunteers who are also working somewhere else. So when you walk into a store, imagine if everybody there was a volunteer. Like everything was put together by volunteers. Like if you tried to buy something at the register and nobody was there to really take your stuff or to pay.
Depot's like that.
Right, yeah, maybe that is close. Yeah. But we forget that even though we're a nonprofit, we're essentially kind of like a business, and that we have to keep the doors open. We got a building, we've got revenue, all that stuff, marketing. So I don't know. It's just important, I think, that people who haven't participated and haven't, and enjoy the services of EBS, but haven't stepped up, right? I mean, I'm not trying to point fingers. I'm just saying we all got to chip in. We're all responsible. It can't be just the same group of people. So, and I think for me anyway, personally stepping away is going to create space for someone new to step in, and new energy and new ideas and new enthusiasm. And no, I'm not going away. I'm still going to be around. I'm not disappearing, obviously, not that I know of. Yeah, but thank you
No, I forgot
for
to
saying
talk
all that.
about money. Let me just say.
Yeah, you do the
Money.
fundraising.
We also, people we have to thank are our donors, and, all the way through COVID, we paid rent even though no one was in the building. We were able to do that because we have about 100 people that donate to EBS. Some of them never set foot in the building. They just love the idea that we're here and sustain us. And so those people are extremely important. And our donations have, didn't even dip during COVID. They've remained steady. I put a chart on the wall here. You can see that. It's a bar chart of the donations, and they're going up. But our expenses changed a lot when we bought the building. We saved $700 a month because of the difference between rent and mortgage payment. And so we're run on a very tight budget. I mean, it's about $50,000 a year to run this whole place in terms of what we actually spend, and nobody gets paid. So the donors have stepped up and kicked in even extra money in the last couple of years. We've been able to do a couple of things to the building that needed to be done and pay for it out of the current revenue, so without savings. So from a financial point of view, really, really, I want to thank everybody.
I missed the number. What did you say your yearly expenses are?
About 50,000.
50,000. Okay. Anything financial wise you need to bring up, talk about? Do you want to talk about the building too? Anything about what we've done this last year with the building?
We made some improvements in terms of painting this room. Steve, right there, that guy, he did this kitchen remodel for us.
The doors, the cabinet doors.
Cabinets, yeah.
Big difference, huge
Big
difference.
And so we have a couple of big issues that need to be addressed. One of them is that we're not compliant with federal law regarding Americans with disabilities. And so the ADA, we used to be an office, it wasn't such a big deal, but now that we have public programs here, we really need to make it accessible for everybody. And it's very hard to do with this 1960 building, the way it's configured, the way the front doors and stuff like that. And the other problem is that you can only really have one practice going on at a time because sound travels throughout the building. And even if you're in the basement, unless you're closed in like you're in a closet, then you hear what's going on upstairs. And so we have engaged an architectural firm, and they are working with us on a plan for how to address the ADA issue and build out the space and get more space. And so stay tuned for that. We're just getting in the very beginnings of that. And part of the process will involve showing her what we're thinking about and gathering ideas and suggestions. It's really something that a crowdsourced thinking is very important, because people think of things that we would never think of otherwise. You can't reach this if you're in a wheelchair, or something that you just don't see. So that will be coming up, but we don't really need to say a lot about it.
Volunteers?
Well, like I said, timekeepers, that means that you report to Mick and you just ring the gong.
Hey,
You show
more
up.
work to it than that.
Well, showing up even when there's no one else here and sitting for the whole 30 minutes and, holding the space, whatever, but, marketing is something that could really use some help. And programs too, like, okay, so we're going to do, in February, we're gonna celebrate the Tibetan New Year. Losar it's called. And a program like that is gonna be a potluck dinner with Himalayan themed food, hopefully, or whatever else you can bring. And, but what I wanna say is that the board is interested in next year, really bringing the community together as much as we can, more often, across the practice groups, from all the practice groups. So before COVID, we used to have movie nights and lots of potluck suppers. There was one summer where we had speakers on Saturday nights, so we eat pizza and listen to someone talk about Buddhism and the environment, or feminism and Buddhism, stuff like that. And so it was nice. It was really nice and cozy, sociable, and I think a lot of people come here in the first place because they want to be with other people, like them, like-minded people. So we would like to do a lot more of that kind of thing, and that's the kind of thing a volunteer can organize. We don't need to be, you can just have like Hope and Roger did a movie night. Pajamas, sleepover themed Pixar movie. It was, unfortunately, the tornado hit.
That's right, that was the same.
Right? And wrecked your car. Right? But I don't know if you want to speak to that experience, but it's just it's not, EBS is a place where you can try things. Yeah. But if you have an idea for something that sounds good, Molly found a guy that does this vegan cooking.
We did a mindful eating workshop last year.
That was wonderful.
Yeah.
He's gonna do it again someday?
He like us is now has a new business.
Okay.
And so I don't know if he's gonna have the availability of what we're.
But the contra dancing is another good example. People just thought of that and wanted to put it together, and the board is open to anything and everything. So, again, just bring it up, whatever you think of. Nick and I saw a movie. I don't think we can do this, but we saw a movie Friday night about the Elaine massacre of 2019. Not exactly a news theme. 1919, sorry. But a beautiful new documentary about that. And he used to sponsor a showing of that or something, because it's not going to get widely distributed. But it's very local. Anyway.
Well, let's finish getting a couple more updates, because I think you bring up sort of this, what are the ideas for this next year? And I think I'm sure everyone's got maybe some ideas that they want to throw out, and not like throw out, like I was saying, like throw them out. I didn't mean like that. Offer them. Thank you. That's a better way of saying that. Sorry about that. John, is there anything more about technology over this past year, like anything on the technology? I know you were helping the board a lot with that.
We updated the documentation for it. Did you ever get that? You were gonna order something?
We have it sitting downstairs, no one's installed it yet. No, it's not you, it's Michael, he was gonna do it, things happen, life intervened, volunteers, life intervenes, and things are finished.
So the intent is to remount the TV on a rolling cart that has everything in it, so you don't have to dismantle things, take them out, put them in.
A little more tidy.
And I didn't have any part of it, but the network had been changed.
Yeah, Paul did that, thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
Got us on Comcast, much faster, stronger.
Doing great right now? Yeah?
Comcast, we're on Comcast.
We're on Comcast now. We were on, 5G and wasn't that good, so Comcast modem was back.
That wrap up technology as far as this last year, anything else? Am I missing another category of sort of bucket? And you want to say about marketing? Like, again, looking back, I know we can talk about what's coming up, but anything?
Well, we just tried to support the various events that happened. We didn't have any like specific marketing initiatives that we were able to do, but just as far as supporting the retreats and different events, getting emails out, getting Facebook posts out. As mentioned, can you please help? Someone has a lot of energy. If you know somebody that has energy and time to do that, we could certainly do a better job of getting the messaging out.
But I would say about that too, that Mike and Molly have been our MailChimp hands-on operators. And so we could use a new MailChimp hands-on operator. So if you know somebody that's what's the word, competent, I don't know.
Sure.
MailChimp comfortable.
Some people are not even on MailChimp. What are you talking about, MailChimp? It's an email marketing platform, yeah.
If you know what we're talking about, you'll know.
It's an unusual name.
Yeah. So, I mean, we have writers who can write a message for you, but it's that being out through the technology that we need help with.
No, what we really need is somebody, I try to do my best, but we need to be getting regular communication out there on a cadence, making sure that we're communicating every month. And, so part of that is keeping a calendar of, being aware of the different things that are going on at EBS and making sure that we're talking about them. And the MailChimp part is actually pretty easy, but it's really that having the overall awareness of what's happening and making sure that we get these emails out.
I mean, the theme for this coming year is bringing in new people, is growing, is making people that are coming here feel like part of the family. So, and that is the idea, and communicating is a big part of that. So, let people know what we're doing.
Well, and since we're actually, sounds like we're already talking about sort of this next year, and even though I'm stepping back from the board, I mean, one thing that Cheryl and I talked about when we had coffee to talk about that is, whether we put such a big emphasis on growing everything right after COVID and like programs and get people and grow. We got to go back because before COVID, we were doing all this different stuff. And it feels like as COVID was sort of waning and we wanted to get back to the old pre-COVID days when we were doing all this stuff, but it was like, it's been hard. It's been hard to get back into that cycle again for everybody and for various reasons, and so one thing that I was wondering, and I sent this to the board in an email and just curious to everyone else's thoughts. I mean, maybe we should sort of just tap the brake of trying to grow. I'm putting that word in parentheses as a very broad placeholder, but instead like focus on resting, renewing, and reconnecting of the 3 R's. Those are 3 words that came to me as a way of like for me personally, I spent so much time worrying about what we're doing and my job and all the stuff, and I was neglecting my practice in 2023. And I wondered how much that was common among all of us who, maybe especially on the board, were so focused on doing things and responsibilities, and yet we weren't grounding ourselves in practice as much as we probably need to. And so that's one reason I'm stepping back, in all honesty, is because, one, my job's real busy, and I also want to get grounded a little bit more in my practice again. And I wonder whether that was sort of like an interesting kind of thing to think about for us as a community and as a board for 2024, is what if we kind of focus on getting people back in the building as much as we safely can? And that's a whole nother maybe conversation. Is it, we have some people who definitely prefer to stay on Zoom and some who really want to be back in the building. And there's very good reasons for both. So, but as much as people feel safe to do that and are able to do that for various reasons, you know, come and be a part of the community again as much as you can in person. Come and practice, whether again on Zoom or in person, and let this be sort of a year of sort of, you know, what did I say? I think we were like fertilizing the ground or something, like fertilizing the soil, so that in the next year and the year after, we're ready to go into a growth movement again. But it feels like we're struggling to get people on the board. We're struggling for board members to find the time to do all the things we need to do. So maybe it's a signal to kind of pull back just a little bit and ground ourselves again and get ready for the next growth thing, which is, you know, real common. I mean, I think we focus growth. My company's going through some of this. We had to lay people off because we were growing. And finally we're like, whoa, we're trying too hard. We got to pull back. So I don't know,
So
just
when
something
you
I'm
say-
throwing out for everybody to
So
think
when
about.
we say not growing, I'm just saying, more people coming to things we're already doing,
Yes,
not a bunch of new things, like we
Correct.
did, when we were in the real growth push, that's when we started a teen group, and a
Yes.
jobs group, children's group, and this and that, and it was like, that's how we were gonna do it, just like bringing on these people. And then those things didn't come up.
Yeah.
But anyway, so not that kind of growing, but just welcoming, inviting, and
Yeah,
sharing.
reconnecting, like doing a really great job with what we have and the programs we have and the practices we have, versus trying to think of, got to do this new thing, or let's introduce this new thing. I'm not saying we should deny doing that if the opportunity's there. You know, I realized if, like, contra dance, that was successful, let's do another one. I mean, it's not like we're saying stop doing new things altogether. I don't know, just something to think about.
We could also re-solidify taking pictures and having posts about these things.
Right.
Instead of diversifying.
Yeah.
I don't think that they're mutually exclusive, both, and, which.
Resting, yeah. Yeah.
No, I don't think that we need to be thinking we're now in a rest time, and then next year we'll be ready for growth. I think that they can both be happening. I think it's more of like a mindset, the way we go after growth. And I think growth is an important thing to be doing. But the way we go after growth can be mindful and restful, and it doesn't have to be energetic and all the things that we were associated with. I think, doing I think we should do some movie nights and some the second Saturday contra dancing, and I have some other ideas and stuff, but I don't think that we should. I don't want to just.
I have an idea of how to combine both. That would be highlight practice, maybe for a month or so. Thursday night is highlight. So people could actually come and visit, and that would bring our group together so much if we actually knew what's happening. Because I think that a lot of us, I don't really know what's happening.
need tremendous amount of textbook work. What it would do is really bring the need.
Yeah, that's all, great, yeah. I mean, yeah.
So what I'm not hearing, I've moved away a lot and moved back, but overall, I've been around a long time. In the first 10 or 15 years of the Ecumenical Buddhist Society movement, it was less a corporate entity and more a federation. So the practice groups were the engines that drove it. And the board and the Ecumenical Buddhist Society as a whole was a facilitator of a space for the practice groups. So it was the practice groups that were bringing in their teachers and organizing their things and telling the board that we're going to have 2 sessions this year. We're going to do this or we're going to do that. And it was the practice groups that were out looking through their leaders and their gurus and those systems, bringing people into the thing. And the board was sort of responding to their needs for facilities. And it looks like over the last 8 or 9 years, the board is starting to operate more as a corporate. So it used to be the practice groups were running the practice groups. The practice groups were saying, we want to have a potluck and we're going to invite people to it. But the practice groups were the engines of bringing ideas and forth. And I'm not hearing any of that. I'm hearing a group of people at a board trying to set a vision for this whole and say that it's the practice, it's the board's idea to have these offerings. And, you know, but if we have moved to that corporate vision and we understand we are now operating corporately, and the practice groups are just departments of the Ecumenical Buddhist Society. And, you know, and we are putting plans together for this whole, and we understand that's our model, then we have gone off and had whiteboarding and setting visions and bringing people up and down. But I'm not seeing that either. So it may be that between these 2 models, you know, on all this discussion about ideas for this and ideas for that, I got one practice group that's starting to do contra dancing. I'm wondering whether I can Zoom that. You know, but the other, so there, you know, if it's an organized whole, then somebody's got to be directing, giving the practice groups their goals and helping them do things.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's going on either. Practice groups pretty independent.
Yeah.
So the board used to be the practice leaders, and a person among those kind of selected to be the administrators.
I want to speak to that, but I want.
But I'm just saying, I'm seeing a gap.
Yeah, there's.
And it may be that one of the things to do for 2024 is to try to resolve that gap and get both the practice groups and the board working on some sort of the same boat.
Well, let me,
Do you understand what
I do completely, and actually, so I've been on board since 2010, off and on, and I agree with you, that's how it used to be here. But we lost people. So Anna Cox is not here anymore. And the, Betsy, what I think her name was, Becky, that did the Vipassana group, back in the day, and Charles Hicks, and, I mean, so about 2011, 2012, Ford actually rewrote the Bible because that level of leadership, Buddhist leadership from the lineages had fallen away. Teachers had died, their teachers had died, and then people were backing off. Anna stopped coming here in 2014. And so that leadership evaporated. And so the board, that's one thing. So the board rewrote the the bylaws to authorize non-lineage activities, yeah, so that the community can still function and go forward, and that's what the offset being law, all these other things, we start doing other things. But then the other thing is, I would say, it's not true that the practice groups aren't meeting, because board members are practice group leaders, all those practice group leaders. So when we say the board, and Mike represents the, was represented, Lucy's group, and Betsy was represented, Cookie's group. So it's still there, it's just not the same. It's, I mean, really, what I think we've done pretty successfully is support everything with what we have.
So you have made the shift and rewritten the bylaws to be appropriate.
Just, I hate the word corporate, it's not, we did have it, we went through in 2018, we went through a strategic planning process with the facilitator, and all we did was recognize that EBS could no longer be someplace that only served people who were already very committed Buddhists in a particular tradition, because there's just not that many people. And we needed to expand the world that we were reaching out to people. And now what we have a lot of is people who just want to learn how to meditate, and or the 12-step people, they don't have to be Buddhist to come, right? So that needed a different layer of support, administrative support, and that's what we have been trying to do. I look at people and I think we've been doing it.
Just another thing on this thing. The idea of volunteerism. Every institution is finding that current generations are not as interested in rolling up the sleeves and volunteering as former ones. And there's lots and lots of institutions that are volunteer kind of institutions that realize if they say, we need people to come clean the church. Say, well, I don't want to clean the church. I don't want to clean. I hired somebody to clean my own house. I don't clean yours. You say, well, if you don't clean it, you're gonna have to pay more, so we can hire somebody to clean it. And they say, okay, that's what we're gonna do. So, the volunteerism is a struggle in lots and lots of institutions in this nowadays.
Yeah. I mean, I think you make an interesting point, and I think that when the board, I think, began to shift, and I wasn't sort of part of that early shift, I came on a little bit after.
12, but you did the 18 strategic plan.
Yeah, but I mean, like, for one thing, we bought this building, right? So if we were just a group of practice groups, I doubt we would have been able to get the loan, to make the purchase, we wanted to be in charge of our own destiny, more or less. And that was only going to be a board-driven process. And I think that then.
So does the EBS fund the money for the retreat, just kickstart retreats and stuff, or the practice groups do that themselves?
Oh, yeah, EBS. Yeah. Yeah.
The groups, I mean, we all had none with their own kids. Nobody did the practice groups.
Right, but we didn't have it until they put it in. We just.
No, we've always done this, as long as I've been here. And we've had to big arguments in the early days because, they wanted to put the money through our account with the boss maybe losing money, but not giving us control of the retreat. So there's always big arguments between us. The teacher coming in on money in cash. Yeah. So we've always gone through process.
You never know the old days.
There's never, not that I've ever been with, that any individuals were financing the retreat. And if they did, somebody was taking their administrative cuts off the top, because like a friend of mine who brought in a huge retreat on her own, through her own bank account, you look at it, you couldn't have a loss.
Well, so I'm just saying, I just think, I've only been here since, like I said, 10 or 11 is when I got on board, and we were watching, nothing was happening. It was really, we did the best we could.
But I don't disagree with, I think you're also saying, is the involvement of the practice groups is absolutely foundational and pivotal to the growth of EBS. If we're just letting it be a board-driven kind of thing, then we're the foundation of this whole enterprise are the practice groups. And now the classes associated with that, like your 12-step group and others. So, I mean, I think what I'm taking away from what you're saying is it's a reminder that we have to continue to do our best to engage the practice group leaders, the practice group members, to grow their, and we've talked about this, every year we talk about this, but how we encourage the practice leaders to grow their groups. And probably the more overtly the board has steered the organization, is there a sense, maybe what you're asking too, is there a sense of practice groups kind of go, well, you know, the board's got it. You know, oh, the board will handle this stuff, you know, we're just a group, we're just one of the groups over here, the board's got it. Too much sort of deference to the board running EBS versus the practice group seeing that they're equal partners with the board. It's not, I don't know, maybe I'm putting words in your mouth, but that's sort of what I'm
just
in a
saying
little
that
bit taking away from what you're
if
saying.
the board is taking, which it is, apparently recognized in the bylaws, then it needs the infrastructure to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it needs people in finance, it needs people in advertising, it needs all
That
those-
corporate, as you say,
It
yeah.
needs all those
Yeah.
pieces it takes to do that.
Yeah.
And these people to fill them.
Yeah.
One way or the other.
Yeah. It's a conundrum.
Which is,
It's a conundrum a little bit. It's a dance. We're tripping over each other's toes sometimes.
And, you know, we had 2 retreats this last year, really successful retreats. And one of them was with the Thich Nhat Hanh group, I mean, with Anaptuta. And he has a very vibrant following, you know, 25-year following here. And so we didn't have to do very much for them. They take care of everything. We handled the registrations and money, space, you know, the technology. But they did hosting, you know, they did the rest. The other teacher though was Sparks, and there's like 3 people. So we did everything for them. They couldn't do it themselves. But you know, in both cases, 30, 40 people participated in the event. Everybody loved it. You know, it's just, anyway, I'm really glad you raised this, but.
Yeah. Paul, Diane, I don't want to make sure you guys are ignored there. Anything you all have to add to this? No? You're staying out of it. Okay, all right.
So we have to
Yes.
nominate the board for next year.
I'll let you do that.
Okay. Well, we have asked, requested that he helps stand for the board with us to fill one of the 2 vacant seats. And agreed. I want to say about Ben that, I mean, I think I've known you about 5 years, maybe, something like that. And he's been part of the Wednesday night group, the meditation, and then Betsy and I did a group called Final Chapters during the COVID, where we were like, oh my God, we could die tomorrow. That was the group.
That was the group.
We met, there were about 15 of us, and we met on Zoom for the year, and we got our wills written, and we did all this, and that was part of that. We all kept saying, what's that young guy doing here?
Just as easy, that's not fair.
Anyway, and now he's joined the so right, TikTok or Tuesday. So I think I'm delighted that is there anything you want to say?
I would like to say that it bugs me when people call it the TikTok group.
Okay.
It's Zen, it's Plum Village, it's Magnolia Grove, or I'm sorry, River Valley Sangha. But I'm fairly certain that the Buddha wouldn't say this is Siddhartha Buddhism. So I don't like to say it's Thich Nhat Hanh.
Okay.
So I tell us as a person, it just kind of bugs me.
That's a great point.
No, but like, if I'm saying something, it's
River.
Really?
So that's thanks for considering me. Good to be here. Love every time I come here.
Excited that you're here. It's great.
And then the other people that are, all others that are on the board, John, they're staying, so. And then the rest of them. Oh, Molly's. Molly, Mick, Mick,
Oh, Mick.
Yeah. Par for the course.
Is there anyone else that would like to be on the board? That is, speak up, feel inspired?
Would you really, Roger?
Yes.
All right. I second.
Yes.
So we have a meeting right after this one to elect. Most of the board members are not here, so we're gonna have to do that maybe, I don't know. Maybe we'll have to do that. But anyway, thank you, Roger. Thank you, Ben. And thank you, our board members.
Is Lisa staying?
Lisa's staying, yeah. She is. Again, people's circumstances change, you know, she was retired and then she got a job and went back to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people, it's like, it's a luxury to be, I'm retired, so I know, it's a luxury to be able to do stuff.
Well, I'm still available to help now and then, by all means. I mean, Molly, if you need, on the marketing side, just don't, if I say no, I'm just gonna say, I'm busy.
Yeah.
But I don't mind saying no. I mean, I'll do it politely, but still ask if there's something I can do. I'll do my best.
And there's also a place for people that are not on board, like we have a building committee. John Matlock is on that committee, and Michael Crenshaw, who's also on the board. But John Lyon, who's not on the board, is also on the committee. And so if there's an interest that you have, like programming, programs, events, or marketing or something like that, you want to serve the committee, that's an option.
Yeah.
So that way we do this. Okay.
Well, shall we officially close our 2024 annual board meeting? Okay. Does anybody second it? All right, it is hereby completed. Diane, Paul, thank you.
Bye.
Good to see you guys.
Thank you.